The coastline will be, I think, a mirroring pattern where you will see on the water near the coastline will be the interesting place to have trade relations and social relations between the coastal cities. So I really see it as a symbiosis between cities on land and water.
What is the future for cities? Do you want to learn more about them? Do you want to know how others think about them? Do you want to be part of the conversation? Then this is the right place.
Welcome to What is the Future for Cities podcast. I will interview Rutger de Graaf, co-founder and managing director of Blue 21 Group. We will talk about his vision for the future of cities, floating cities, affordability, permitting, industry opportunities in floating cities, and many more.
I think that floating urban development and floating communities can provide very interesting ecological services to the land-based communities. Just to mention an example, flood protection. Everyone gets a story of sea level rise and we have floating cities and we adapt to that. But that's only one dimension of it, because from our research, we see that the moment you put floating infrastructure or floating communities in front of the coast, you take out a significant part of the wave energy that would impact that coast. In other words, the floating communities protect the cities on the land, wave impact and extreme weather impact and sea level rise. Not from sea level rise itself, but the city doesn't flood because of the sea level rise. It floods because of sea level rise, and then the extreme storm comes, and then the flood levees breach, and then you have your flood. And the second mechanism is taken out by the floating community. And so the moment you have a floating city expansion, the city on the land becomes much safer because it's now the floating city that takes the wave impact instead of the flood defense at the coast. And so I think that's also a very important mechanism. I already talked about how floating cities integrated with floating ecosystems improve the water quality as well. And so that's another environmental service. You start integrating floating seaweed systems and floating algae systems in your floating city. Floating cities can take out CO2 from the atmosphere. It's another environmental service that they can provide.
Find out more in episode 384 with Rutger de Graaf on the
What is the Future for Cities podcast.